Most people would say Tony Hawk is the GOAT, the greatest skateboarder of all time. I'm one of those people. He has done it all on a skateboard. He is also a really, really successful businessman. But when he was starting out, he was starting to work into the field of skateboarding and business. And as a young man, found himself in a position where Tony was earning more money than his teachers. Check out this story.
You've obviously made a life out of skating, but prior to that, people aren't making money out of doing what you were doing. So you're a pioneer in so many ways. When do you first compete and someone hands you some money?
My first year as a pro, it's so strange to talk about it in the light of what it means to be pro these days.
Yes.
When I would turn pro, I basically was filling out an entry form to a competition, and instead of the amateur box, I ticked the pro box. And that was it.
How old were you?
14.
Oh, right. Okay.
But that just meant that I was competing with another class of skaters and that we were all trying to get the $150 first prize. So that was the first money I made was from a competition. I think I got a check for $50. I placed fourth in my first pro contest.
And how are you feeling about getting paid to skate at that point? Because as I said...
Well, that's what I mean. It wasn't... Hey, in 1982 to a 14-year-old, $50 was awesome. So I was excited to be getting paid at all, but that was never the goal because no one was making money at it. You know, even the top pros, they weren't really making a living at it. They were just doing it because they loved it. And if they reached an age of responsibility, say in their late teens, early 20s, it was basically a given that you had to stop skating because you had to go find a job.
Right.
So when I'm not even 16 yet, I'm just trying to collect money to buy a car. Eventually, and that was the big goal for me. So it was exciting to be making some money, but more exciting just the fact that skating was on the rise. And it wasn't until I was in my high school years that I started making significant money and realized that this is my career.
What's significant money in? What's significant money at that stage, and how do you start to think, right, I can actually make a living out of this?
Well, when I was 16, I was winning a lot of the events with bigger prize money. I was getting royalties for my signature skateboards, and by the time I was 17, I was probably making six figures a year, $100,000 a year, and I mean, it was wild. It seemed like, you know, for someone that age, it seems like you're making $1 billion a year because it's just like, what, you know, I bought a house while I was in high school. So that was all kind of absurd. And then you get this sort of invincibility feeling that it's never going to end and it's just always going to be like this. And then you go crazy with spending money and living to excess. But I think probably the biggest thing about that was that everyone else I knew was trying to figure out where they're going to go to college. And I already had a career. I was already making good money. I chose not to go to college.
Before we get to the point when things started to not go so well for skateboarding, you were talking about making money and being a young man and the excess. How excessive did it get in those 80s before the old bum fell out of the whole show?
I always loved gadgets.
Right.
So I would just buy all the new gadgets, all the new Walkman, the smallest cameras, any new video camera that came out. At one point, I bought a tanning bed.
A tanning bed, Tony?
Yeah, just because I thought that was living large. You got a tanning bed in your house.
Did you have a nice tan?
It was all absurd. Yeah, I live in California. Like, it was just so unnecessary.
Hey guys, Howie here. Thank you so much for watching the Howie Games YouTube channel. We really appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you watch plenty more clips. Now, if you want to get the full podcast from the clip you've just heard, you can see the full link on the description. If you want to subscribe to the Howie Games YouTube channel, which we would love, just click on the button below. And if you want to see more content from the Howie Games, over to your right, all the clips are there. Thank you once again so much. And as always, peace and love.